Hello everyone, this is part 58 of What If Naruto Had Two Bloodlines, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Soon it called for immediate action to be taken. They would not allow for these two to get away with this. They would hunt them down and make sure that they didn't leave the fire country, period. Assemble the Nichushutai. She commanded. Shizune ran out into the hallway and darted down the hall. The gapping opening made this a lot faster and simpler. Tsunade and the monk headed to the top of the tower and were met with 20 squads of shinobi. She informed them of their task and sent them off to complete it. They were to locate the two responsible for eradicating the fire temple and either capture or eliminate them. Naruto and a multitude of clones stood on a wooden bridge across the waterfall. Together they were trying to cut it in half. Try as they might, they were having an extremely difficult time getting it done. All they could manage were splashes and a sliver into the falling water. Hey Kakashi-sensei, don't you think it'd be better doing this with a few more clones? Naruto shouted. No, I don't. Kakashi shouted back. If you don't elementally recompose a massive amount of chakra into wind, you won't be able to split the waterfall. The more of you there are, the less chakra each of you will have. But it's not working. Give me some pointers. You're not letting the wind chakra stay in your body long enough after molding it. Take your time and do things carefully, trial and error. You'll be able to do it better soon enough. Even Sasuke took a while when I was teaching him Chidori. Seeing Naruto's serious expression, Kakashi gave in. He told Yamato to make some more room. He extended the bridge and Naruto created more clones and got back to work. Well then, Asuma started. We'll start our search at the temple, he told his squad. We'll meet back here shortly, I just have something to see to. Kotetsu, Izumo, and Shikamaru left to get items that they may need. Asuma made a little detour. He stopped outside the window of Kurenai and stopped before knocking on it. He thought twice about it and left. Kurenai had just come from the back room when she got this unusual feeling. She walked over to the window and looked out across the village. Normally the hustle and bustle of the villages below would calm her, but this time she couldn't shake this uneasy feeling she was getting. Asuma's team met back up and headed for the fire temple. They investigated the area, looking for clues as to who attacked it and how they managed to win. As for why, they figured that they already knew that. They found out that there were two assailants that took Chiraku, a former member of the 12 Ninja Guardsmen, for the bounty on his head. There were 5 points where they could collect this bounty if they planned on making the exchange. That was the best lead they had at the moment. Word was sent to other teams to check the other points while they checked the one closest to them. After a prayer offered by the elder monk, the team was off again. Kakashi and Yamato watched in awe as Naruto and his clones split the waterfall. Not only that, they left their mark on the mountain as well, cutting into it. Yamato let out a sigh of relief as he finally had time for a break, but it wouldn't last long. Good work, Kakashi commended. Now we can get you started on making the new jutsu. Naruto flashed a smile and dove into the water. He swam to shore and nearly collapsed from exhaustion. He shook off the fatigue and asked for the next step. Kakashi was about to tell him but heard his stomach growling. He decided to hold off on it and treat his pupil to a much-needed meal and rest. Naruto, after lunch, I'm going to show you something you'll find quite interesting, Kakashi let on. I can't believe they hid the entrance behind a urinal, Hidden complained. And what the hell is that smell? Quiet Hidden, I won't get much for your head, so I don't want to have to K you, Kakazu threatened. I keep telling you, that doesn't apply to me. Just hurry up because I don't want to have to stand in piss any longer than I have to. Kakazu gave him a look as he exchanged Chiraku's body for a case of money. He then began counting it. Irritated, annoyed, and pissed, in more ways than one, Hidden couldn't take it anymore. He stormed outside to get some fresh air. Damn pissy place, he complained. Piss here, piss there, the hell is Kakazu thinking coming to replace like? Hidden could feel his body seize up. He tried to move but found it extremely difficult. He then heard a voice. I take it you're in Akatsuki, so, how are you doing? Managing to crane his en and look at Shikamaru from the corner of his eye, Hidden said, oh man, I'm having a pissy day and it's being pissed to hell and pissing me off. Naruto had returned to the waterfall created by Yamato, happy that his belly was full and ready to continue his training. Before they did, however, Kakashi held out his hand and started to say, I'll now go over the other technique, spatial recomposition. It's when you change the shape of the chakra. You already know how to do that. And with the training we just finished, you acquired elemental recomposition. Now we can move on to the next step. Since I already know both, then the next step should be a piece of cake. If that were the case, then I wouldn't have developed Chidori, he said as he continued holding out his hand. This is what I wanted to show you. Chakra began building and swirling in the palm of Kakashi's hand. It grew until it took the familiar shape of Kakashi-sensei. You can also use the Rasengan. Yeah, but this is all I could do. I wasn't able to combine my elementally recomposed lightning chakra with the spatially recomposed chakra of the Rasengan, but I'm hoping that you can. Naruto looked confused. Kakashi explained, Chidori is a good example. Using that jutsu, not only do you elementally recompose your chakra to lightning, but you also spatially recompose it to discharge, thus determining the scope and strength of the attack. It takes an incredible amount of skill to combine elemental and spatial recomposition. I've tried and proved unsuccessful, as did my teacher, the person who devised the Rasengan, the fourth Hokage. Not even he could do it. Naruto was astonished. But then, why do you think I can do it when you and one of the greatest ninjas the village produced couldn't? Hey, whatever the fully developed jutsu created from this training may be, will have an S rank, or even higher, or it might be impossible altogether, but I have great expectations for you as a shinobi. I believe that you're the only one that can surpass the fourth. Naruto was speechless. He didn't know that his sensei had that kind of faith in him. After Kakashi's words, Naruto's fighting spirit was enhanced. He felt that he could definitely do it now. He eagerly created multiple clones and awaited instructions. Shikamaru smirked as he restrained Hidden's movement. Hidden didn't understand what was going on, but he knew it meant trouble for him. Asuma pulled a few shuriken and let them fly. They LD his body, embedding into his backside. One found its way into the back of his skull and Shikamaru released his jutsu as he toppled to the ground. With a smirk, Asuma began to say, that's one. He stopped short as Hidden's fallen frame shifted. He stood back to his feet and began painfully removing the shuriken. Ouch man, who the hell are you guys? He winced. What's going on? Kotetsu questioned. What's with this guy? Shouldn't he be S? There was a shuriken in the back of his head, Izumo said in disbelief. That should have been the end of it at least, Shikamaru stated. TCH. That kind of S don't apply to me, Hidden commented. Then, is this guy immortal? Izumo questioned. Isn't it obvious? Hidden retorted. That can't be possible, Asuma commented. Anyway, let's just do what we can. Either we capture him or we K him. We just need to get it done before the other shows up. Hidden looked over to Asuma and noticed the sash at his waist and recognized it as the same as Chiraku's. From this, a feeling of dread began to overcome him. No matter what, he didn't want to have to go back into that funky hellhole again. Just who the hell are you bastards anyway? Shikamaru answered, with a shinobi of the leaf, we came under orders to bring you back, S or alive. Is that so? Well, it looks like you picked the wrong one to target first, Hidden mocked. With my ability, you won't be able to K me and capturing me won't be any easy. Hidden was stopped by a familiar sensation. The same as before when they appeared overtook him once again. He had fallen prey to the same technique but still didn't know what it was. He tried to move his body but couldn't and the leaf shinobi would take advantage of the situation. Kotetsu and Izumo drew similar giant kunai and charged for Hidden. Unable to put up any resistance, Hidden felt the cold steel tear through his F and exit on opposite sides of his body. Damn it. That hurts. Bastards. It still didn't do anything, Izumo stated. If we can't K him then we have no choice but to capture him, Kotetsu said. Asuma pulled out his trench knives while saying, "Let's just see about that. I wonder what would happen if I lopped off your head." He began charging for them. As he neared, he and Shikamaru noticed the expressions on Hiden, Kotetsu, and Izumo change. Asuma didn't understand, that is until he heard a loud sing sound and turned to see the other Akatsuki stepping from a cloud of dirt and dust. Asuma looked for Shikamaru and found him a few feet away from where he once stood, facing the Akatsuki. With Shikamaru's jutsu released, and free to move, Hiden kicked Kotetsu away. As soon as he did, Izumo yanked his kunai from Hiden's body, spinning and tearing it some more, as did Kotetsu's. Like before, he complained about how it hurt but seemed unfazed as well. Kakazu began advancing on Shikamaru but stopped as Asuma jumped between them. He then ordered that his team fall back on him. They all retreated back a safer distance away from the two Akatsuki to regroup and come up with another plan. Kakazu placed his focus on Asuma and recognized his sash. He commended Hiden on finding something great. "Yeah, don't you get involved, Kakazu, I'll pay them all for my religion. You can have the money when I'm done." "Fine, just don't let your guard down, Kakazu warned. "How many damn times do I have to tell ya? That's not something you say to me. I couldn't be happier if there was someone that could K me." As his blood sped to the ground, Hiden stepped in it and began smearing the ground with it. He formed a circle with a triangle within and beckoned for the leaf shinobi to attack. Asuma whispered to his team about their attack strategy. He then charged for Hiden. A sadistic smile crossed Hiden's lips as Asuma came right at him. He grabbed his three-bladed scythe and the two clashed. The brief clanging of metal rang out with brief sounds of tearing F and D sping blood. They paused momentarily as Hiden groaned, "Ah man, look what you did." The bottom blade on his scythe had broken off and was now on the ground. Hiden began shifting his gaze from his scythe to Asuma and noticed something unusual creeping along. He wouldn't have time to realize it however as Asuma attacked again. Hiden quickly ran and picked up the large kunai Kotetsu had dropped and hurled it at Asuma. He dodged and took up his guard as Hiden leapt over the tendrils from Shikamaru's jutsu. Before Asuma could regain his composure, Hiden swung his scythe around by its tether. Asuma managed to block the first go-around, but the force of it knocked him off kilter. The second come-round slashed Asuma across the back and to the ground. He got up grimacing in pain as he could feel blood from the cut. Shikamaru was desperate to get this guy as he was giving his sensei trouble. In this state of panic, he found it hard to get a fix on the target. Hiden landed and smirked as he held his scythe up for the others to see Asuma's blood sping from it. Thinking that his opponent was just boasting, Asuma decided to fix his wagon. He cycled through seals as Hiden licked the blood from his weapon and made a break for it. Fire style, searing ash cloud. Asuma exhaled a cloud of smoke as Hiden reached the symbol he had drawn on the ground. The cloud enveloped him as he cackled. The cloud exploded and there was silence as it began to clear. Before anything else, groans from Asuma could be heard. His team turned their attention to him to see that he had burns over his body. Asuma's team questioned how this could happen. They then heard Hiden's voice. "Hurts, don't it? Divine judgment has been made, I bet you understand the pain of others now." The smoke cleared and Hiden, in a different form, was revealed. His skeletal structure appeared to be shown on top of his skin, making him look like a soul reaper. He stood to his feet and, showing his teeth, he told Asuma, "You've already fallen victim to my curse, now the ritual begins, this should be fun, as the two of us share the ecstasy of each other's pain." He sadistically exclaimed. Hiden reached into his robe and pulled out a long pike. He began twirling it as he flashed his teeth and laughing psychotically. Asuma lengthened the chakra on his blade, extending it greatly. He then charged. Hiden didn't budge. He sneered as he stopped twirling his pike. Asuma assumed that he was readying to counter and prepared to do the same. What Hiden did next surprised and shocked both him and the rest of his team. Hiden drove the pike into his own leg with great force, grunting in pain. Suddenly, Asuma felt a sharp pain in his own leg and crashed to the ground. He, nor his team, could explain it. He began groaning in pain as he grabbed his leg. "Yeah, that hurt good, didn't it? Attacking the vitals is so lame. This pain is the best. As the other SS, their agony radiates through my body. And living through it is the best." His team questioned how this was possible and Shikamaru began to piece it together. Hiden smiled down on Asuma as they came to a grim conclusion. Hiden couldn't be Ked and Asuma would receive any damage done to him somehow. Hiden taunted him by pointing out places he could S himself next. He couldn't seem to decide whether to have some more fun with Asuma or just end it now. Since there were others, he prepared to put an end to the fun for now. He drew back and thrusted his pike. Hiden groaned, "Wah, what the hell's going on?" He recalled this sensation and groaned, "Not this S again." "Got him," Shikamaru revealed. Hiden tried to struggle against Shikamaru's jutsu but couldn't budge enough to finish the job. With a little more time given on his life, Asuma and his team realized how they should handle this situation. The other teams wouldn't likely reach them until another 20 minutes or so, and even so, there was no guarantee that the other Akatsuki wouldn't become impatient and get involved. I've got a little time before Shikamaru's Shadow and Bind is released to figure this out. What should I do? Asuma pondered. The training area was littered with craters and boss. Naruto and his clones had been attempting to combine his natured chakra with his Rasengan but had little success. He was losing to exhaustion and the Kyuubi's chakra. Frustration was setting in as Naruto forced himself back to his feet to try once again. He and a clone gave it another attempt, but he could feel that he was losing himself. His tails were growing rapidly. Yamato activated his jutsu quickly to defuse this walking time bomb. Naruto gave in to his exhaustion and passed out. The crisis of the Kyuubi rampaging through the village was averted for the moment, at least on this end of the equation. Yuki growled, cursed, and groaned. Her anger was getting the best of her as she couldn't take it. Why is this happening? She whined. Do I really have to do this? Well, it's either this or you could take your chances with allowing me to vent my anger, she wickedly smiled. With several beads of cold sweat streaking down her body, Yuki turned around and got back to work repairing the damages caused by her shadow clone and Tsunde's anger. Though she got a great laugh out of it, Yuki wasn't sure if she would ever tamper with Tsunde's alcohol again. Kakazu was indeed growing impatient. As he started to step forward, Hiden stopped him. Back off, Kakazu, these wares are mine. Speech, personality, tone, his style, his weapons, I've got to figure out what the point of them is to this guy, everything he's done up until now, how they're connected, how his jutsu works and how to counter it, figure it out. Shikamaru began awising. After going over everything they had experienced from Hiden from the moment they met him, he finally pieced and put it all together. Kakazu looked on, doing some awising himself. He noticed how Shikamaru's shadow was stretched all the way to Hiden's and, with a change in seals, forced him to mirror him. Hiden tried to fight it as he was forced from within his symbol. Did that bastard figure it out? Hiden wondered. What are you doing, Shikamaru? Izumo asked. He struggled to answer, I'm gonna drag that guy out of that weird symbol he drew on the ground. With that, his jutsu, or that curse, or whatever, should be undone. What? Kotetsu questioned. Shikamaru went on to say, that weapon of his, judging from its design, instead of increasing the amount of damage to an opponent, it's actually to increase the success rate of getting a hit. This means that it doesn't really matter how much damage is done as long as blood is drawn. From there he'll be able to use his jutsu to K the enemy. By ingesting their blood, we saw that guy lick the blood he got from Asuma before he went into this state. That's not all either. In order for his curse to work, it seems that he has to be within that symbol he made earlier. At least that's what I think, since he ran right for it as soon as he licked the blood. Also, what he said once it started to take effect makes me think that, in order to complete his curse, he has to be inside that circle. Hiden cursed as Shikamaru continued to forcefully remove him from his symbol. Everyone, including Kakazu, was impressed with Shikamaru and how he had put it all together so quickly. Asshole. I'll S you to pieces after this. You talk too much. There is no after, Shikamaru noted as he finally got Hiden from within his strange symbol. Asuma quickly hurled some shuriken at Hiden, slicing his body only slightly to be sure that his curse was no longer in effect. Hiden winced as they cut his skin, but Asuma didn't feel a thing. He took this as the all-clear sign. Shikamaru shifted seals again and, before he knew it, Hiden had tendrils hooked into his body, holding him in place. Seeing that Shikamaru was possibly at his limit, Asuma, with his injury, quickly made his way for Hiden. He extended his chakra from one of his chakra blades and picked up the pace. As he neared, panic appeared on Hiden's face. Damn it. Kakuzu. Help, now. Kakuzu didn't move or say anything. Hiden began to freak out. Hey. I said help, now, damn it. A smile crossed Asuma's lips as he knew it was too late. He swung his blade and blood splattered to the ground. Ino and her squad had made it to one of the exchange points. They had been waiting for several minutes. Are they coming? Chuji asked. This was one of the points we were informed about the potential of them coming to, Ino said. There are other teams covering the others, so all we have to do is sit and wait. I wish that they'd hurry up, Chuji said. Ino agreed, but what she was thinking, I'm not sure if I want to run into those guys. From what we've been told, they sound kind of scary. I hope Shikamaru and Asuma sensei are okay. Blood splurted from Hiden's en as his head hit the ground and rolled. Shikamaru released his shadow sewing technique and Hiden's body collapsed, lifeless, to the ground. The team let out a sigh of relief as that was one down and one more to go. Should they risk it with both Shikamaru and Asuma's condition, or should they try to retreat? Kakuzu walked over to Hiden's head and said, You should have asked for my help before this happened. Damn it, don't F with me. You let this happen on purpose. The team was shocked to hear this. Hiden's head was still alive, and Kakuzu was talking to it. That's why I told you not to let your guard down, Kakuzu criticized. You were the one telling me not to interfere at all. FOFF, you bastard. Is it really wise to yell at the only one that can help you in your current situation? Hiden thought about this and bit his lip. He then changed his tone as he pleaded with his partner to help him out since he couldn't help himself. Almost as if reluctant, Kakuzu reached down and grabbed Hiden by his hair. With Hiden complaining about this, he made his way over to his headless body. As they neared, Hiden continuously cursed Asuma for doing this to him. The Leaf Shinobi just couldn't explain what was going on any longer. Even if he is immortal, he can't do anything like that, Shikamaru assured as he had a hard time getting back to his feet. Kakuzu looked at this and back at Asuma, who stepped between him and Hiden's body. Without warning, Kakuzu shifted and kicked Asuma out of the way. Asuma slid across the ground as he didn't know what had hit him. Izumo and Kotetsu were about to attack but thought again about this. Kakuzu lifted Hiden's body and placed his head on the en. From his sleeve, something that looked like thread appeared and sewed Hiden's head back on. Since you asked for my help, I'll be involved in this battle from here on out, Kakuzu told his stubborn partner. Done. Hiden began to test how well his en could hold up. The Leaf Shinobi were horrified to see that he now had full mobility of his body once again. Kakuzu took command. He told his partner to stick to a one-on-one fight with the bounty while he took on the others. Taking the hint that the fight was on, Kotetsu and Izumo kicked it off. Kotetsu pulled out a scroll as Izumo cycled through hand seals. They charged as a giant conch shell-like weapon appeared from the scroll. Kotetsu picked up his speed and charged ahead of Izumo. He swung his weapon and, in Matrix-like fashion, Kakuzu ducked this attack. Water style, syrup capture field. Izumo spewed a sticky substance from his mouth just as Kotetsu's attack missed. Kakuzu became stuck and his movements restricted by this substance. Kotetsu made a roundabout to attack him once again. Kakuzu slipped his sleeves back, revealing his arms and a thread that seemed to come alive from them. Kotetsu was too close and couldn't avoid capture as the thread-like tendrils wrapped around him with Kakuzu's hand grabbing him around his T. His other arm went for Izumo who, like someone running from a monster in a horror movie, did all he could to avoid the same fate. Asuma was determined to help his team, but he couldn't just leave Hiden to do as he pleased. He swiped at Hiden with his chakra blade but missed. Hiden jumped back and tossed his scythe. Asuma ducked it and proceeded to get back to his feet. As he did, a smile crossed Hiden's lips. With a warning from Shikamaru, Asuma realized why he had smiled. Asuma hit the dirt as Hiden's scythe came back for another try. It missed and found its place in Hiden's abdomen. A bit shaken, Asuma looked up at the immortal. Hiden looked down on him, arched an eyebrow, and jeered at him. Asuma realized why he did this as he violently coughed up blood. He keeled over holding himself as pain surged through his body. Shikamaru tried his best to get to his feet and help his sensei, but his exhaustion was getting the better of him. Asuma looked up with contempt as Hiden flashed his sadistic smile. He was in too much pain to stop this man, and, other than Shikamaru, the other two members of his squad had been reduced helpless as well. Hiden lifted his arm with the pike in his hand. He let out a psychotic shriek as he plunged the pike into his chest. Asuma winced as he could feel the pain from this overtake him. Shikamaru had tried his best to stop this before it was too late, but fell short right next to his sensei. Tears began to fall from his eyes as he watched his sensei collapse. With a look of sick pleasure, Hiden said, "Oh yeah, that hit the spot, reverts back to normal. I'm done here, Kakazu." Shikamaru crawled his way over to Asuma's fallen frame. He tried to hold back the tears but found it difficult. He shook violently as he tried to contain his rage. Hiden stepped forward and, looming over him, said, "Time for some more fun." He pulled the pike from his body and prepared to Shikamaru with it. With angry eyes, Shikamaru turned up to Hiden. As he prepared to strike, he noticed a crow unusually flying right for him. Kakazu was the same as an entire flock came at them and attacked them. Kakazu began to release his hold on Izumo and Kotetsu, but before he could, he barely noticed a black sword coming at him from within the black flock. He slightly avoided being espered in the eye as he fully released his captives and jumped out of the flock. Shikamaru gritted his teeth as Hiden did the same. "Shikamaru, we've come to help you," Ino shouted as she landed next to him and ready to provide protection. He was snapped out of his momentary fit of rage as he heard Ino's voice. Coming back, he frantically searched for Asuma, who had been picked up and taken to safety by Chuji. With all of his remaining strength, he followed. He caught up to them, collapsing beside them. This was for the best since he would just hinder his comrades in this fight in his current condition. "Quick, Ino, use your medical jutsu to help Asuma, if even a little. While you're doing that, we'll rush him back to the village," Shikamaru told her. Ino started as Chuji and Shikamaru positioned themselves to carry him. Before they could, however, Kakazu caught up to them saying that he wouldn't let them take his bounty. Alba jumped out front and told them, "We'll buy you some time, as soon as you get the chance, get Asuma out of here." Hiden began boasting about how he had already made Asuma AS and how the others would receive the same fate. However, he was interrupted. From the perspective of the Leaf Shinobi, it looked as if he was talking to a voice in his head. Kakazu commanded that they follow orders and leave as they were told. Reluctant and not too happy about it, Hiden did as he was told. The two retreated after warning that they would return. Reidu and Alba were about to give chase but had other pressing matters to attend. Weakly, Asuma spoke up, "That's okay guys, even I can tell that this is gonna be it for me." "Don't say that," Shikamaru told him. "As long as you have a pulse, there's still a chance for you to make it." Asuma gave a faint smile before looking at Ino. He could tell that she had too realized how hopeless the situation was. "I think I finally understand why the third did what he did, even if I am a little late. Listen up, these are my final words of advice." He shifted his fading gaze to Ino. "Ino, you're a strong-willed, reliable girl, both Chuji and Shikamaru are kind of clumsy, so take care of them. Also, don't lose to Sakura in ninjutsu or love." Tears streamed down her face as she said, "Yes sensei." She held back her sobs. "Chuji, you're a gentle guy, you think the world of your friends, and that's why you'll become a very strong shinobi. Always believe in yourself." Chuji nodded as tears started falling from his eyes. "And you, Shikamaru, you have a sharp mind, and your ninja sense is first-rate. You have the potential to become Hokage if you chose, but it'd probably be too troublesome for a slacker like you. Hey, it's no wonder I never beat you in Shugi once. And about that talk we had about the king, I'll tell you, come closer." Shikamaru leaned in and Asuma whispered into his ear. Shikamaru was shocked. He finally got why Asuma had put himself in harm's way during their fight. "I'm counting on you, Shikamaru. There's one last thing I want before I go. I'd really like a smoke. The cigarettes are in my pouch. I'd appreciate it if you helped me out." Shikamaru granted his sensei's wish. He placed a cigarette in his mouth and lit it for him. As he inhaled deeply and exhaled his final puff of smoke, the memories of Team 10's, Team Asuma's, days together flooded their heads. As his life and his cigarette were finally extinguished, Asuma was gone. Ino began sobbing into his chest and Chuji began crying as well. As it began raining, Reidu took his black cloak and placed it over Asuma's corpse. Shikamaru shakily stood to his feet and walked off a short distance away from the others. He had grabbed Asuma's cigarette and relit it for himself. He coughed from the smoke saying, "I knew smoking wasn't for me, the damn smoke gets in my eyes." The rain masked his tears and covered the land as if the sky was weeping as well. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.